Hello, friends, welcome back to the podcast summary show. So, friends, in this video, we are gonna learn a lot of things, and this podcast I've taken from the School of Greatness, Louis House. In my previous video, I uploaded the story of Louis House. Who is Louis House? How did he became the online person? How did he build his online business? So please go and watch my that video, and you can watch this video. So let's start this podcast summary. So this podcast summary, I build like I make this podcast. This podcast summary, I develop, I make this with a process. I take those moments of the podcast which are very really important, which are really valuable. So in this podcast, David Epstein was invited by Louis House, and they talked about how can we find our purpose and how can we learn a lot of skills and how can we practice a lot of things. So let's dive in it. In the beginning, they started by asking so many questions, but I took an interesting question that was asked by Louis House. Louis House asked, like, you have a baby to Louis House asked to David Epstein and said that you have a baby, and suppose he is 16 year old, and he's saying, Dad, I wanna, I have a lot of friends know what I want to do, what I'm doing. They are doing well in their career, and should I start specializing or experience things and learn things and practice things? So Louis asked, what would you say about this to your son? So he said, I'd say, don't worry about being behind. Children, teenagers start to worry being behind. They think, if they are going ahead of me, so they would do a lot in their career. We don't need to worry about others. If we would worry about others, so we don't focus on our career. We don't focus on our practice, on our skill. We should practice, and we would compete with them. We don't have to compete with others. We only have to learn things by practicing. So he said that first I would say, don't worry being behind, and then I'd say, I'd say there are a lot of stuff, try some, and then I'll help you to reflect on it, and then if you enjoy anything, and then if you enjoy of any of these, then you have to go with that. So then his son, his supposed son, goes ahead, and he learned soccer. He learned soccer and he was doing well. Then at the point he burn out, he exhausted, and then said to his father, "Dad, I'm burn out at this point. What should I do?" This question was asked by Louis house, and then his son said that, "Dad, I'm burn out from this. I don't want to do anymore. I'm exhausted." So his father says, Louis house said, "What did you say at this situation?" So he said that, "I'd say take a break, and if you can recover from this is it would be better for you, and then if you don't, so you should try another." So friends, let's come on our topic. I wanna emphasize this topic. I've only learned this from that podcast. So like, I want to learn coding, and I start to learn coding, and then after 3 or 4 or 6 months, I'm exhausted. I don't want to learn anymore, and I say, this was very hard and it is not for me. So I would quit, and then I would try another thing, like public speaking. I'd try public speaking, and then even that didn't work out for me, so I'd try another. Then I find out something that was interesting for me, that was YouTubing, that was doing it. This is also a public speaking, I think. I'm sorry for that, but I'm doing it, and this is for me, that I'm doing is very valuable and enjoying for me. I'm talking to you, and this is really good for me, and it doesn't matter if anyone doesn't watch my video. I'm speaking in front of you, my English is speaking are getting better. If I don't, so please, if I'm not speaking clear and right and English, so please guide me and tell me the mistakes that I'm making in this. Tell me the mistakes that I'm making in this video, and when I would read your comments about my mistakes, I would absolutely improve my mistakes. So friends, and then I move, and then I choose this was life changing for me, and I found it after practicing. First I practiced coding, then I practiced public, then I practiced YouTubing in front of camera. So this is the process we should do to learn our talent. We should learn our talent. One of the quote that is in range: we learn who we are in practice, not in theory. We learn our behavior in practice. We don't learn in theory. What are we doing? Why we are doing? What are heart? What is my heart saying to me? So we have to work heartily. We have to heartily, and then reflect on our things. So friends, this was my little English speaking skills that I speak in front of you. and this podcast, so friends, this podcast was very interesting for me to listen and watch. If you want to watch this podcast, the link in the description, and my video that was about Louis house, you should watch that video also, and then feedback about my videos. That would be very helpful for me. If you know help me, so please help me by commenting on my videos. So be happy, make happy. My name is Muhammad Tariq. let's meet in the another let's meet in the another video.